It began with a blinding streak of fire cutting across the African sky. The tribes watched in awe as the heavens tore open. Elders whispered of omens, of gods falling from the stars. But deep in the heart of Wakanda, in the sacred lands untouched by time or colonizers, a pod crashed silently into the soil, burning, steaming, and alien. Chaka, then king of Wakanda, arrived at the crater with his Dora Milaje. They expected danger. What they found was a baby, wrapped in cloth bearing an unfamiliar emblem, an S shaped like a serpent. They found a boy. His skin glowed faintly under Wakanda's twilight. His cry echoed with power. The vibranium in the earth beneath him hummed, as if greeting an equal. Shuri, then only a teenager, said at first, "This child is not from this world." Chaka faced a choice. He could destroy the alien, or raise him. As king and protector, he had always known power must be guided. He took the child in, naming him Kal-El, after a Wakandan phrase meaning, bringer of light. Years passed. Kal-El grew faster, stronger, stranger than anyone expected. He lifted boulders with one hand. He outran panthers. He could leap from mountain to mountain. But he also listened, learned, meditated, and followed the way of the panther. Wakanda shaped him, trained him in discipline, taught him about honor, tradition, and humility. But the more he grew, the more questions he asked. Why am I different? Why can't I bleed? Why do I hear voices from across the jungle? Shuri, now Wakanda's chief scientist, studied his DNA. She compared it to every known species. No match. She dissected his crash pod, its metal stronger than vibranium, its symbols unreadable. Until one day, Kal-El touched the crystal core inside it, and everything changed. Visions flooded his mind. Planet exploding. A mother's cry. A father's warning. You will be a god to them. Kal-El collapsed for 3 days. When he awoke, he spoke fluent Kryptonian. He remembered his real name, Kal-El of Krypton. And yet, he was Wakandan too. The tension tore at him. The boy who was raised as a prince, now burdened by the truth. He was the last of his kind. One night, he climbed Mount Bashenga, the sacred peak where the first Black Panther spoke to Bast, the panther goddess. There, he screamed into the stars. And the stars answered. A satellite appeared, cloaked, bearing a red-white-blue insignia. It was a shield vessel scanning for alien tech. They had traced the crash signal, but were decades too late. They saw Kal-El, watched him, reported back. Nick Fury wasn't sure if he had found a threat, or the world's greatest weapon. And deep beneath Wakanda, in the ancestral plains, Chaka spoke to Bast herself. He is not one of us, Bast said. But he is mine to guide, Chaka replied. The world was changing, and Kal-El was the storm to come. He wore the panther's necklace, but the world saw a god in disguise. Kal-El's dual identity became harder to hide. The more he mastered his Kryptonian gifts, his heat vision, flight, near invincibility, the more Wakanda's elders debated. Some called him a blessing. Others feared he would outgrow them. But Kal-El was loyal. Loyal to Chaka, to Wakanda, to the people who raised him. He trained under Okoye, studied under Shuri, meditated with the priests of Bast. Yet he was not content. He wanted to help outside Wakanda. He saw suffering beyond the borders. Wars, famines, injustice. And Wakanda, despite its power, remained hidden. Why must we stay silent? He asked. Chaka's answer was clear. Because the world is not ready. And neither are you. But Kal-El was Kryptonian. He was born for the stars. He had the strength to lift mountains. The speed to stop bullets mid-air. The heart to change fate itself. So he left, donning a suit woven from vibranium mesh and bearing both the Kryptonian crest and the panther's claws. He became a legend whispered across Africa. A blur that stopped child soldiers. A red-eyed shadow that leveled warlords' fortresses. Villagers called him Mungu wa Nguvu, god of power. The world noticed, The Avengers were the first to act. Captain America saw a threat. Iron Man saw an anomaly. Thor saw a rival. They found Kal-El in Ethiopia, single-handedly stopping a collapsing dam with nothing but his bare hands and sheer will. Tony tried to talk. Steve tried to reason. Thor tried to challenge. Kal-El ignored them all. "I don't belong to your world. I belong to those who raised me." SHIELD labeled him a global variable. But someone else was watching. Someone far more dangerous. Victor Von Doom. From Latveria, Doom studied the energy patterns left behind by Kal-El's pod. When he discovered it wasn't just alien tech, but interdimensional, he became obsessed. "If I can control him," Doom whispered, "I can conquer reality itself." He built a kryptonite forge, not naturally occurring on Earth, but synthetically reproduced from traces left in the pod's wake. The forge could weaken Kal-El, restrain him, even kill him, and Doom wasn't alone. He allied with Namor, ruler of Atlantis, who viewed Kal-El as a threat to balance. Together, they launched an assault on the edge of Wakandan territory. Their goal: not war, but capture. Kal-El returned just in time to stop the invasion. The skies split. Lightning clashed against magic. Kal-El faced Doom, and for the first time felt pain. Kryptonite-based tech pierced his skin. His powers flickered. He bled. The battle lasted hours. Mountains crumbled. Forests burned. But in the end, Kal-El stood victorious, barely. He collapsed in front of Chaka, whispering, "I am not a god. I'm just trying to be enough." The king finally understood. Kal-El wasn't just Wakandan or Kryptonian. He was something new, something greater. The council agreed. Wakanda would no longer hide him. Kal-El would represent them to the world, as a protector, not a conqueror. Shuri upgraded his suit. The Vibranium now responded to his thoughts, channeling energy from the sun more efficiently. His symbol, once a foreign glyph, now bore the texture of Wakandan glyphs. He had become something the world had never seen. The Vibranium Man. And as he took to the skies, one thing became clear: if the world wanted peace, or war, it would have to go through him. The world didn't celebrate Kal-El. They feared him. Wakanda's decision to reveal him shattered the balance of power. UN summits erupted in panic. Some demanded he be disarmed, as if he could be. Others begged for alliances. But one voice rose louder than the rest. Lex Luthor. In this universe, Lex was not a rival of Superman. Yet. But now, seeing a god born of alien power and Wakandan secrecy, he began to move his pieces. This being, Lex declared, could incinerate the earth in seconds. And we've given him a throne. He wasn't alone. Some heroes, especially from the Justice League's dimension, felt something was wrong. Kal-El's presence in this world meant their Superman never existed. Time had twisted. Realities blurred. Batman, the world's greatest detective, traced anomalies in the multiverse. Portals opening. Crossovers forming. The multiverse was bleeding. And at its center, Kal-El. Bruce warned, if Kal-El remains, this Earth becomes ground zero for collapse. But Wonder Woman disagreed. She saw his heart. She sensed nobility, restraint. So did T'Challa. But lines were drawn. On one side, Wakanda, the Dora Milaje, the Avengers who stood for peace, and Kal-El, the Vibranium Man. On the other, Doom, Namor, Lex, and even corrupted versions of familiar heroes. Dark reflections twisted by reality's unraveling. The battlefield? Earth itself. It began with strikes against Wakanda. Lex deployed kryptonite satellites into orbit. Doom unleashed chaos magic. Namor flooded entire coasts. Kal-El fought without killing. Always holding back. Always calculating. But then, Lex did the unthinkable. He launched a warhead toward a civilian city. Not for conquest. Not for gain. But to force Kal-El to choose. Reveal the full scale of his power, or let millions die. Kal-El flew faster than sound, faster than light, pushing beyond his limits. He caught the missile midair, but his body was weakened. Kryptonite dust coated the warhead. He fell. Hard. Captured. Shackled. Brought to a secret bunker built underground, powered by red sun energy, Krypton's deadly mimic. Lex stood over him, victorious. "You're not a god," Lex hissed. "You're just a scared boy in a stolen crown." But Lex underestimated one thing. Wakanda never forgets its own. T'Challa, now wearing the mantle of Black Panther, led a rescue. Iron Man hacked the red sun emitters. Diana broke through the magic wards. And Shuri brought Kal-El a gift. A sliver of pure sun crystal, recovered from his crash pod, infused into vibranium and reactivated. Kal-El's eyes burned gold. He rose, no longer weakened. He flew not just with power, but with purpose. He didn't kill Lex. He didn't destroy Doom. He humbled them, made them see that he wasn't above them, but he wasn't beneath them either. He was something new, a bridge between worlds, a symbol of what Earth could become, not ruled by fear, but lifted by hope. Kal-El addressed the UN himself. "I am not your weapon. I am not your enemy. I am the child of two dying worlds, reborn by mercy. If you fear what I can do, then teach me how to serve. But I will not kneel, and I will not conquer. I will protect." The world listened. For once, it listened. And just as peace began to bloom, a crack tore through the sky. From it emerged another Kal-El. This one wore black. His eyes were cold. His emblem twisted. His heart corrupted. "You stole my destiny," he growled. "I want it back." Kal-El of Wakanda faced his greatest challenge yet. Not against evil, but against himself.